Hi guys, welcome to this video. Oh my god, it's literally golden hour right now. The sun is like shining in my face. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Welcome to this video. What I wanted to do in this video is talk about my top 5 books so far in 2023. Now, just a warning, these books might not stay my top 5 by the end of the year because I do have a bunch of more books I do want to read before 2023 is over. This is just an estimate of my favorite books that are like my top 5 so far. So let's just get right into it. We're just going to talk about these 5 incredible books. I'm going to start from 5 to number 1. So we're going to go from 5 to 1. So book number 5, that's my top 5th book of this year so far, is Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. I have no words this book was just so good. I gave this book 5 stars. This is a 5-star read for me. I read this last month. If you guys saw my July wrap up, I talked about this book a lot in that video. So this is about Liz and Wes. Wes and Liz are definitely enemies to lovers. It's like enemies, friends, and then lovers. They definitely hate each other in the beginning. This is about Liz and Wes, who are neighbors. They've hated each other for so long, and they both fight for the same parking space that's right in front of their house because one of them refuses to walk the block to their house. Like, they just refuse to do it. So they do form like a truce in the book because an old town friend moves back to town, and they all used to be friends when they're little. They all were neighbors. They all lived in the same neighborhood, and she had like a huge crush on Michael. So she notices that Michael still sees her as little weird Liz. And she also notices that Wes is friends with Michael. So she decides to ask Wes for his help and make Michael notice her. And what she gives him in return is the parking space. So he's like, done deal. But as they start hanging out a little more, they start slowly becoming friends or creating a friendship. And then later on in the book, she realizes that he's not a complete menace. Which, honestly, I'm not gonna lie, if you guys ask me who is like my favorite fictional crush, I guess you can say, so if you guys asked me, I would say, if you guys asked me who my favorite fictional crush is of 2023 so far, or like my top 10, I definitely have a list. I would say Wes is probably number 3. Like, reading this book, he's just so amazing. Like, you read the book and then you realize that obviously at first you're like, dang, this guy's a menace. Like, this guy's terrible. You read throughout the book though, and then you just like, I feel like you just completely fall in love with Wes. Like, you just fall in love with him. Like, I can't explain it. But I'm just so happy I was able to read this book. I've had this book on my shelf since January, and I just cannot believe myself that I read it July. Like, I waited I waited 6 months to read this book. Like, it has no logic. It has no meaning. Like, I just can't believe I didn't read it. So, like I said, they start becoming friends. She realizes he's not a menace. And then she starts, she's like, oh wait, but who's my end game here? Like, she starts getting confused. She's like, do I still want Michael, or am I starting to want Wes? So this book was just so good. It's just so cute. Like, I just can't. I just can't. So, book number 4, I don't know what I'm doing with my hands, forget I did that. Book number 4 is Ignite Me by Tahira Mafi. I just love this book. I'm not gonna lie, after reading this book, you can ask literally anyone that was with me during reading this book. I literally this book left me in a hangover. Like, I was literally in a book hangover for like 4 days, for like a week. I don't know. I was in like a hangover for a while. I couldn't pick any other book that didn't have anything to do with this series for like 5 days. And that's just, it was just, I literally needed so many days to process the ending of this book. I gave this book 5 stars. If you guys don't know, this is book 3 in the Shatter Me series. And this series, like, it has so many things happens within just the 3 books that, like, it's, you can't talk about it because then you're just gonna spoil. Like, you're gonna spoil something if you talk too much about it. So this whole series is about Juliet, who has powers where if she touches someone, she can shatter them, and that's how book 1 starts. Then we see book 2 and 3 where she gets a major character development. Like, she still frustrates you, but like her character development is so amazing where you're like, she frustrates you a little less. I'm not sure if that makes sense. But she starts to understand her powers, accept herself and stuff like that. And she's in this rebellion with a bunch of people who also have like similar abilities, where they all have like a special super ability. And she's surrounded by all these people who are planning and trying to prepare to fight against the government, because this is a dystopian YA fantasy. This does have a really insane love triangle that I really enjoyed reading about, and it's just so amazing. Like, the whole series so far is so amazing. I'm so excited to get into book 4 that I bought recently. It's like in my TBR cart. Like, I need to read that book as soon as I finish the book I'm reading now. Like, I just need to get to it really quickly. This book was just so incredible. I love Tahira Mafi's writing. She writes so quickly. You get into the book so quickly. The plot moves very fluently in a sense where her writing is super easy to understand. You're just like in the story. Like, I feel like the series is like the type of series where you're just so into the book that you like, it feels like you're in a different world completely. Book number 3 is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I loved this book, and I read this, I would say, early 2023, I think. I'm not sure. I think I read this like early 23, I think. So this book was, I would say that every book I have here was 5 stars. Every book I'm going to talk about in this video is 5 stars. They were all that good. So this is a Beauty and the Beast inspired. If you guys like have seen Beauty and the Beast, if you guys love Beauty and the Beast, you are gonna love this book. Like, I definitely recommend this book, definitely. So if you guys have seen Beauty and the Beast, it's basically a similar aspect, just in a fantasy aspect. This is fantasy, romance. This is a really amazing book. I just loved the action, and the plot twist in this book was just so good. I loved how they made the villain, which is like the enchantress in Beauty and the Beast type of thing. I loved everything about this book. I loved the found family in it. This is book 1 in the ACOTAR series. I'm very excited to get into book 2 as well. I have it with me, and it's just a long process to get all these books done. I have so many books I have not read yet that I need to get to. So I'll probably do a video of me trying to shrink my physical TBR. I'll see. But this is about Feyre and Tamlin and their relationship. I honestly don't have much to say. It's basically Beauty and the Beast, where she kills a wolf. She's a huntress. She kills a wolf. And Tamlin, who is the High Lord of the Spring Court, there's 7 courts, and he's the High Lord of the Spring Court. He goes into the human world because he's a Fae, and Fae and humans have different worlds. He goes into the human world, so he goes to her house, and he's like, you killed one of my Faes. You killed one of my people. Now I get to take you as my prisoner, or your family dies. And she's like, obviously she's gonna protect her family, so she goes. And she hates him. She can't stand him. She has very big trust issues. And yeah, you just go into the story. Her accepting where she is. She starts to grow. She starts to fall in love with the Fae world and with Tamlin. And I just loved reading about their relationship. It was just so good. Book 2 again, I keep doing this with my hands. Book 2 in this video is, I'm actually very excited to talk about this, but The Final Gambit by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is book 3 in the Inheritance Game series that I read, and literally that series was the first and last series I read going into 2023 and leaving 2022. So, again, I can't say much about these books because this is obviously book 3 in the Inheritance Game series, and this is like found family, friends to lovers. There's a little bit of a love triangle in here. I loved everything about this. This is mystery, riddles type of things. This is definitely a YA book in a sense where in book 1 we notice Avery, who gets invited to read someone's will that died, goes into a reading of a will of a old guy that died who was a billionaire in Texas. Long story short, in book 1 she gains all of his inheritance, his house, his company, everything, all his money. She becomes a billionaire in a day, basically. And we just see in book 1 and 2 and 3 where she starts to find a family in the family of the guy that died. It's just so good. Basically, the guy that died has four grandsons, and she, at first they hate her, but then they start to grow a found family within the 5 of them, and they just start to solve the riddles that their grandfather left them after he died, and they just continue to solve it up until book 3. I just loved the whole aspect of this. I loved reading the series because I just really, really enjoyed trying to solve the riddles, seeing what happens. The plot twist that takes place in all 3 books, especially this one, was just so, so good. I just had so much fun reading this book and the entire series. Like, I just loved it so much. Definitely recommend. Last and not least, my favorite book of this year so far, my number 1, my all-time favorite of this year so far is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. This book is just so, so good. Like, I literally want to read all of her books now. Like, it's just so good. This is, I'm pretty sure, Strangers to Lovers, Friends to Lovers, then Lovers, I guess. This is fake dating, that's for sure. This book was just so, so cute. Like, reading this book was just amazing. Like, it was just incredible. Like, I have no words. So this is about Brianna and Jacob. Hold up. Me literally forgetting the main guy character's name of my favorite book. That's just crazy. I did not forget his name. I did not. Trust me. This is about Brianna and Jacob, and they are ER physicians. They're both doctors, stuff like that. I just love the depths this book has. Like, Abby Jimenez, I feel like, is literally so good at writing funny, heartfelt, good feel books, but she also adds a lot of depths into the book. I'm not sure that makes sense. Basically, Brianna and Jacob both grow and struggle through personal things, in a sense where Brianna struggles with a brother who has kidney renal failure, and she's struggling to find a kidney donor for her brother. One thing I loved about reading Brianna's point of view while she's struggling with this is, if you guys have lost a family member or have had to struggle a family member with any health issues, whether it be organelle issues or sickness issues or disease issues, you really dive into a person's point of view. It was really diving into what it's like to cope and trying to stay strong for your family member who's struggling with any health issues type of thing. And she's definitely an overthinker, that's for sure. One of my favorite parts about this book is that the letters they send to each other. So he writes an apology letter to her, and it's just like the cutest thing I've ever seen. And then she responds to the letter, and then it just keeps going on back and forth with them responding letters to each other. And it's like the cutest thing ever. So going into Jacob's point of view, Jacob is a character who struggles with social anxiety. I also related to Jacob's character because reading Jacob's point of view was him struggling with his social anxiety or any type of anxiety. I myself, many years ago, I would say about 3 years ago, I would struggle with very bad social anxiety. In a sense where just the mere thought of having to speak to someone I did not know would make me cry. I would either cling to my brother, my family members, or a known friend that I already was friends with in any social event or social outing. I could not speak to anyone new for the life of me. Like, my social anxiety was super bad, but glory to God. God has helped me overcome my social anxiety and has made me, honestly, a confident social person. So reading Jacob's point of view is the sense where he gets very anxious in very loud, closed, social places. He does get very anxious meeting new people that he does not know. And we just see Brianna help him overcome, or at least help him overcome his social anxiety just a little bit. So it's just so good. I feel like her writing is just so heartfelt, but also realistic in a sense where you're reading about people and their point of views that go through personal issues like social anxieties, I don't know, stuff like that. And it's just so good. It is really funny. And obviously, if you guys have read any fake dating tropes are my all-time favorite type of tropes to read about in books. So if you guys have read fake dating tropes, you all know that fake dating always brings out the real emotions. So that's it for this video. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this video, and if you guys want to see what ends up being my full top 5 books of this year, because I can guarantee you, especially with the book I'm reading, some of these books might drop down. I don't know. So these are all the books that are top 5 of this year so far. We still have a couple months to go until the year is fully over. Wow, I just can't believe we're getting into 2024 already. Like, I feel like 2023 just started. So I'm done rambling, and I'm finally gonna close this video. If you guys enjoyed, comment down below what your favorite books of this year have been so far, and if you guys have read any of these books. I definitely recommend every single book that's in this video. Definitely get these books if you guys want a really good read. So, and click the subscribe button and the bell button down below to be notified and to see more of my videos. I'll see you guys soon, and I'll see you in my next video.